General Adeyinka Adebayo was born in 1928, the son of a public works employee from Ekiti, near Ado-Ekiti, in present-day Ekiti State, Nigeria. He was educated at All Saints School, Ekiti, and later attended Eko Boys High School and Christ School, Ado-Ekiti. It was the immortal William Shakespeare in Julius Caesar who said, "There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads unto fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries." These immortal words of Shakespeare capture the essence of General Adeyinka Adebayo's career as an officer and a gentleman. He joined the West African Frontier Force in 1948 as a regiment signaller and later completed the Officer Cadet Training Course in Teshie, Ghana from 1950 to 1952. After passing the War Office Examination for Commonwealth Cadets in 1952, as well as the West African Qualifying Examination in 1953, he was commissioned as an officer of the Royal West African Frontier Force, RWAFF, as a 23rd West African military officer with number WA23 and 7th Nigerian military officer with number N7 after the War Office Cadet training in Eaton Hall, England. He later attended the Staff College course in Kimberley in Surrey in 1960 and the prestigious Imperial Defence College, London in late 1965, where he was the only African officer. As the first Nigerian General Staff Officer, Grade 2, Intelligence at the United Nations Headquarters in 1961 and Commander, Nigerian Contingent in the Congo, 1963. He also served as Staff Officer in the United Nations Peacekeeping Force during the Congo crisis between 1961 and 1963, before he capped it as the first indigenous Chief of Staff of the Nigerian Army from February 1964 up till November 1965. General Adebayo also served as the Chairman, Organization of African Unity Defense Planning Committee between 1963 and 1965, Head of Nigerian Delegation to the OAU Summit in Ethiopia, November 1966, Military Governor Western Nigeria between 1966 and 1971, Commandant Nigerian Defense Academy 1971 till 1972, Ceremonial Military Duties 1972 till 1975, before he finally retired from the Nigerian Army with the rank of Major General in July 1975. As Governor of the Western Region, he promoted agricultural extension services, in particular the establishment of the Institute of Agricultural Research and Training, More Plantation, Ibadan. The formation of farmers' cooperative societies became a veritable option that his regime adopted, which improved food production and making the region self-sufficient during the war. On education, Major General Adeyinka Adebayo realized that for any educational system to be effective, the managers of the system must have job satisfaction. As governor, he established the State Schools Board in 1968. Major General Adebayo believed that health of any people is central to their capability to engage in productive activities. To this end, his regime took the monumental step of establishing the Medical Advisory Board, with the function of advising his government on all matters connected to the health care of his people, leading to the establishment of 24-bed cottage hospitals throughout the state. His belief that the military was to have unquestionable loyalty to the political class meant that General Adeyinka Adebayo never participated in any military coup, either successful or abortive, during the 2.5 decades he spent in the military, despite the opportunities presented by the Nigerian crisis of the 1960s. One of the highlights of his military career was the appointment of the then Captain Adebayo as the ADC to the British Governor-General of Nigeria, Sir James Robertson, in 1957. Sir James Robertson was to later become godfather to General Adeyinka Adebayo's first son, Otumba Adebayo, the first executive governor of Ekiti State.
And I do think it is imminent. You're quite right. It will for us be the price of freedom.
His agitation for peaceful resolution of the Biafran crisis was a notable aspect of General Adebayo's command. In one of the most prescient and articulate quotations of the war, he once said, "I need not tell you what horror, what devastation, and what extreme human suffering will attend the use of force. When it is all over, and the smoke and dust have lifted, and the dead are buried, we shall find, as other people have found, that it has all been futile, entirely futile, in solving the problems we set out to solve." At the onset of war, the then Colonel Adebayo ordered all bridges into the west be destroyed to prevent the Biafran rebels from reaching Lagos, which then was the capital of Nigeria. The rebels got as far as Ore, in present-day Ondo State. After the war, he was appointed by the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, as the chairman of the Committee on the Reconciliation and Integration of the Igbos, that is the Biafrans, back into the Nigerian fold. Major General Adebayo was the governor during the infamous Agbekoya farmers' revolt over taxation, which was eventually resolved peacefully and harmoniously. On the social side of things, General Adebayo will likely also be remembered for coining the word Owambe as a description of the glamorous parties held at the State House during the Civil War. Some criticized the partying during the war, but the general brilliantly defended his actions as obliging of his role as administrator at that crucial time to ensure peace in the troubled region. In one interview he said, "When I went to the West as governor, it was very dark and in turmoil. Awolowo was in prison. Akintola had been killed. Most of the leaders had been killed or in hiding. There was darkness in the West. I didn't know the people well, together with the kind of politics they played. I had to open up the politics of the West and bring the people closer to me one way or the other, so that I could study them. Secondly, the plan was to use the galas to bring people nearer the government and give them a sense of belonging. I visited them sometimes, and if it was impossible to discuss with them there, I sent vehicles to bring them to Government House and had lunch with them. Before long, word had gone around that I was doing a good job. That was why some people began to call me Owambe, and I loved it." General Adeyinka Adebayo was the world president and chairman of the Yoruba Council of Elders.
We are pleased that we are here today to see you face to face and to thank God for what you are doing for the country.
He was a completely devoted family man who loved all his children equally, and he can be seen doting over his grandchildren in what has been his annual ritual of having a family reunion on the 1st of January yearly for the past 20 years. At this event, he is always full of life, exuding boundless joy, laughing and cracking jokes with everyone, including his own siblings. He once said that he started this ritual to keep his large family glued together. These occasions have proven to be the happiest days of his memorable life, and his family will miss them dearly.
Many people don't really know about his love for his family. His father was a very, very generous man towards his family. He loved his children very, very much. He tried as much as possible to spend a lot of time with his children. I remember growing up, my father would always make time, no matter how busy he was, he'd always try to make time out to sit down with us and ask us questions about how we were faring in school and generally. As we grew older, we reciprocated by going to sit down with him, talk to him, listen to him, share from his fountain of wisdom.
He'd do anything for his family to make them happy. He'd do anything for me to make me happy. Anytime I dress well, he sees me, he says, my wife. For a man that has so many children, so many grandchildren, to love every one of them, I think is to be commended. And there's something that everybody that has a large family should emulate and copy. And he did it until the end of his life.
I travel with him to Benin to go and meet my parents, my people. We went to Oba Akezua, which is my uncle. And I went to the other person, Okaka, my uncle too. And introduced him to them. They said, that's the become soldier, a colonel in the army. And after that, we moved to Owo. One of his friends, Ifagwe, we were having lunch in Ifagwe's house. We had lunch, we moved to Inu. When I got there, I saw it was in the evening. We brought him dinner, which was powdered yam. The following morning, powdered yam. So I asked, don't you have bread in this village? They said no. Except they go to Ado. They said, 100 yam in the morning, 100 yam in the evening, 100. I think I'd like to have bread for a change. That's how my journey started. 50 years ago with my husband. Anytime I'm with him, it's a man that makes you shine. He doesn't mind. All he wants you to do is to look good. When you look good and he sees you, he smiles.
When my husband finished his course, he was about to come back home and he wanted me to come home with him. I tried to tell him that I would like to further my education. He got school for me, Barrett's Technical College, where I studied domestic science. We were in Kaduna when the Queen was coming from England. My husband was one of the army officers who commanded the Guard of Honor for the Queen. And we all attended the welcome of Queen Elizabeth II. When I was with him, he became full lieutenant. He was riding bicycle there. My husband was a loving man. I'm so happy today when I think of all this he did for me, because I was young. I'd never been to Lagos before. So he gave me good exposure and I'm very happy. And I thank him for it all till today. Even my own children, they call me action woman. It's the lesson that I got from my husband that made me action woman. My first salary in Nigeria was 17 pounds, 8 and 6. I gave it to my husband that this is the money I got from the school. Then he looked at me and said, what do you want me to do with your money? I said, you are the one who financed me throughout my life there. He said, I don't need your money, but take care of yourself and your children and your family. I knelt down to thank him for what he did for me.
One thing my father always did with a view to bringing family together was that on the 1st of January every year, something he'd been doing for over, I think, 20 years, he would hold a New Year's Day lunch at his house in Kenya, and he would expect each and every one of us, of the children, his grandchildren, cousins and relatives. He would invite everybody there. We'd all sit down there, have lunch, get to know ourselves, talk, and just generally felicitate with each other. And it's something that he treasured. It's something that he always looked forward to, and he always insisted on having.
His children include Fumilayo Oladimeji, Nike Makinde, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, Shola Adebayo, late Dr. Dapo Adebayo, Shola Payne, Yemisi Payne, Bola Belgore, Yinka Adebayo, Joke Chukuma, Tunji Adebayo, Detola Adebayo, Dayo Adebayo, Tokumbo Adebayo, Leke Adebayo, Funke Brown, Toun Akinshola, Kemi Adebayo, Adebimpe Adebayo, and Adebobola Adebayo.
He is one of my very eminent chiefs in the community. He is Aro of Idikiti. We are grateful to him for bringing water, light into Ikiti and for his assistance in establishing the two famous secondary schools in Ikiti. He was able to give financial assistance to many people by assisting them in their education. And so we are very, very grateful to him. First Saturday of November of every year, we celebrate in a day, and he contributed both morally and financially. He loved the Ikiti state very well. Before the creation of the state, whereby, Ikiti was developed very well. And after the creation of the state, he had made himself available to all the administrators of the state in those days and all the governors. Anytime he came home, even ever before going to his house, he would call at the palace to say hello to me. We will discuss some issues pertaining to the community, the state, and Nigeria in general. That is one of the greatest things we miss.
Major General Robert Adeyinka Adebayo remains an epitome of a consummate, incomparable, generous, and prodigious great man. Rest in peace, Major General Robert Adeyinka Adebayo. Onward soldier marches on. Rest in peace.